Hello, ladies. Welcome back to another fun, exciting talk rather, here with us on A Sister's Back. And today I was going to say I have a guest, but she's not a guest. She's actually my co-host, Ropa Fazo. Hey, Ropa, how are you doing?
Hi guys, how are you? Hi Carnation.
Oh, how was your week in
Not
Thailand?
bad. Oh, my week was not bad apart from the fact that I hurt myself. I
Oh,
cut
yes.
I cut my finger and I had to get like 4 stitches. So I cut it through here from the joint and severed one of my tendons on the top. So I need to, in a week's time, I got a referral to go to a specialist plastic surgeon so they can
Uh-huh.
take a look and figure out, the extent of the damage and figure out what needs to be fixed. So it's been a crazy end of the week because it
Yeah.
happened on Thursday, but it could have been worse. So I am grateful anyway that I still can move my finger. I don't know how to what extent I'll be able to move my finger, but right now I can't bend it because I'm trying to, it has to heal.
Hmm.
So we'll see what that looks like in the future here.
And it's on your right hand, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
I
on
was
your
laughing. I was laughing because I was like, I can't flip a bird right now because you know, all I can say is peace.
flip a bird.
Yeah. Isn't that what
What's
people
that?
do in traffic when they're angry?
Oh.
Now it's like peace, buddy, peace. When you're
Oh.
like somebody cuts in front of you, peace. I'm just joking. I was just joking, laughing about that. But anyway,
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, you know what? Through some things like this, I guess you also learn things like, I'm speaking from my perspective as, um, someone with nursing background, that you also realize that you need to have your tetanus or DTaP shot every 10 years, right?
yeah, and they gave
So,
me a tetanus shot when I went to the hospital.
yeah. So hopefully it won't happen to any of you ladies that you cut yourself or what have you. But always remember, I guess, when you have a severe cut, especially in the summer when we're out and about and doing stuff, when you do go get it sorted out, make sure that you do get a DTaP vaccine if you haven't had one in 10 years. So
Yeah,
um,
true.
that's a piece of advice, which leads us into our topic of discussion today, which is three pieces of advice. Rather, actually, it's life lessons or advice that you've got from different people or from different experiences that have really served you well. And we have so many things that we can share, but I guess we'd be here the whole um, day. So, what we're going to focus on is, I guess, three life lessons or pieces of advice that you have got from people or just from life experiences. So, Aropa, I will hand it over to you at this point for you to kick us off.
Hello, ladies. So my when I was thinking about the topic of three 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 pieces of advice that I got, I could not think of just three. I had to write down and try and figure out which ones would I want to give to the people. Um, I think the first one that I have, and I think I've been able to see it in action, is whatever you do, give it 100%. That's one of the advice, and it connects in. It's kind of like the same as saying whatever your hands find to do it with all your strength. And I've seen that with my parents. My parents came from nothing. They had nothing, and together they were able to build an empire. they worked together and they worked really hard. And I live by that because I've seen it work for my parents. I've seen it work for anyone and everyone that puts their mind to something and works hard for it. So I think that's one piece of advice that has stuck with me for for years. So over to you. What is one piece of advice that you've received?
I actually like that one, Ropa, of putting 100% in everything that you do. And I think you're not selective. It just becomes the mantra of your life, right? I remember someone saying to me, "Yeah, at that point, I really didn't like cooking." And then that person said, "Well, your meals don't turn out well because you don't put love into it, right? Like you're not giving your 100% when you're preparing the meals."
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that advice, and I think you've mentioned it a few times that it's something that I'm trying to adopt as well. So I'll add that to my advice, but I'm going to share with you something that I have learned. And typically, I think our caregivers are the ones who sort of get the ball rolling in terms of giving us life lessons or important pieces of advice. And so mine would be from my mom. And, she has one that I say way too often, so I won't say that one. But the other one that I say way too often, but I'm going to say it too, is that life is a wheel, right? And I think, this that illustration has really stuck in my mind. And by that, she meant that just as the wheel turns, right, at different times in our life, we're at a certain position of the wheel. Sometimes you're right at the top and things are going well for you. And sometimes you're at the bottom and things are not going well for you. What you have to remember at the top is that the spokes or the wheel will turn. So it's really important how you act when you're at the top, how you treat people whose turn is at the bottom at that time, because at some point the wheel will turn, and the universe has a way of giving back what we invested into it. So whatever you gave when you're at the top and when you're at the bottom, it will come back to you in some form or another. And also, I think, if the times when you've been high at the top of the wheel, when you do come down, if you've been humble, it's not as great a tumble as if you had not been humble. So always remember that, your situation will not always be rosy, and neither will your situation always, doom and gloom. Life is a wheel and it does turn. So yeah, so that's one that my mom gave me.
I like that. I like that actually. And I think I was gonna say, okay, so if I say one piece of advice, that goes with the will, I think I can give another one, right? Because I'm just adding on to the will analogy. So I was gonna say that whatever has a beginning has an end, right? So life is constant beginning and end, beginnings and endings, and beginnings and endings, just like the will, right? Where you have a job, it's not gonna be the job that you're gonna have for the rest of your life. For some people, sometimes it is, but then you still have ups and downs within life, right? One minute you are happy, the next minute you're not happy, the next minute you have ups and downs. So I like what you were saying, that, like, you know, be kind and be, give out good and you will receive good, regardless of what stage you're in life, right? And the reason why I had whatever has a beginning has an end on there as well was also when you're going through the low points in life, know that you're not going to be there forever. You're going to also get out of that because it's going to end. So remember that when you're going through, the valleys of your life and you're in the lowest parts, just remember that it's like a wheel. It's gonna come up. It's life. There's beginnings and ends. Kids start off as little, toddlers. that stage is going to end, and then another stage is going to begin, and then their teenage years are going to begin, and then they're going to end, and whatever. So life keeps on, you know, changing and moving and turning. So I totally agree with that one. um so my second advice is, so someone said this to me, and it really made me, it was like an epiphany type of thing. So they said everyone is going through life and everyone's trying to figure it out. Nobody really knows what's going on. Everybody's just trying to figure it out. So we're going through life. Some people look like they've got it figured out, they've got it put together, but every single person is going through life trying to figure it out. So when they told me this, I was like, I thought I was the only one who didn't know what's happening, what's going on. Everybody else looked like they had it figured out. They knew where they were going. They knew what life was supposed to be, what life was supposed to be like. And I realized that you make your own path. You work for the things that you want, and you make the things that your dreams a reality. You create your own dreams. And just realizing that, a lot of the limiting beliefs that I had fell away, because now, okay, um I was born in a certain place. That means I belong to a certain place. All that kind of fell away. Now I can be whatever I want to be. I can do whatever I want to do, because I'm not limited anymore. We're all trying to figure it out. A long time ago, we did not have, cars. We had, horse carriages. And before that, we had, people walking on foot. But somebody had to create that. That means we created our own reality up to a point whereby we're now in houses that have electricity and whatever. Whereas before, many years ago, people used to warm up their houses with firewood. And if you didn't prepare and, stock up the firewood, you would freeze halfway through the winter, right? So nobody has anything figured out. Once you know that, you can create your own path, you can create your own life, you can create your own dreams and create your own world. So I think, to me, that was like,
Yeah, I actually like that, and I can relate to it. I remember when I was my first job as a nurse, and I come from a background where humility was really emphasized. And when I started my first job, I really did not feel comfortable with a lot of skills, and one of them was starting IVs. And I wasn't there to make friends, because maybe I wasn't enjoying my job. I just wanted to get in and get out.
mhm.
But it's only when I opened up to some colleagues who were in like their first year of nursing, post-graduating, and I realized that they had no clue about a lot of things as well. And once they opened up, it made me feel really better about my situation, and I felt like we could bounce off ideas from each other. So that's very true in life. Some people might have figured out finances, but they don't know how to make their marriage work. Some people might have figured out a great relationship, but they don't know how to, raise their kids. So we are all just trying to make it work. And so it's important for us to be kind to each other. So
And kind to ourselves.
Yeah, and I completely concur with that. My other piece of advice that I got, and I actually got this from my friend Jeanette, and it was in my early 20s. And when you're in your early 20s, coming out of your teens, like, you're a freshly minted woman, like, you look good. It's like you're a new release on the market. You look good, guys are after you and what have you. And so during that time when relationships didn't work, I'll just, I didn't make an effort. If I didn't feel it anymore, I just, let it go. But I remember her telling me, I think, when one of my most significant relationship was about to end, and she said to me that when you're in a relationship with someone, give it your all. Give your heart, give your time, be authentic with that person, so that if that relationship does not work out for whatever reason, you know that you gave it your all, and so you won't have any regrets, and you'll be able to move on in peace. uh, that made a really significant impression on me. And, it's something that I've tried to do in a lot of relationships. It's unfortunate that some people think that, being in a relationship is like a game or a competition where you don't want to lose. And so you'll only give so much so you don't get hurt. You'll only commit so much, so that if it doesn't work out, your recovery time from that relationship will be easy. But what happens is when you're always giving half of yourself, it won't amount, I guess, to a long-term relationship with anyone. And so I think, from that advice, what I also learned was that in a relationship, for instance, when you argue, there are no winners. There's actually a loser, and the loser is the relationship itself, right? So just from that, I've tried to always be authentic and 100% in a relationship. And to be quite honest, I have very few regrets as a result of that. So that's one piece of advice that I've learned. Sometimes the regret is, okay, should I have walked out earlier? But at least you know that there's nothing you could have done differently that would have saved that relationship. So yeah, so that's my piece of advice that I've learned.
I like that. Yeah, I naturally just give out more. And
Very generous.
I wear my heart on my sleeve, how I feel, and I just it comes out. And I think in recent years I've been teaching myself to hold back a little bit. Though I like what you said, because when you give someone your all, you have done anything and everything that you could have done. And you don't have the regrets, even if, and I find a lot of times when people have been treated really, really well, they might decide to leave, but they'll never forget you. They'll never forget the kindness and the love that you have shown, especially when they fall into a relationship that is not as as loving and as giving that as you were. Like, I think we talked about this before, where we were saying people might not remember what you did, but they always will remember how you made them feel,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's really important, and that's good for your peace of mind too, like you were saying, that you don't have any regrets. You can't look back at a relationship and be like, I could have done this better. I could have done. You When you look back at a relationship and you say, I did anything and everything that I could have done, that on itself gives you closure. You don't need somebody else to come here and give you any type of closure, because you know you did everything you could have done, and it was not your fault, type of
Mm-hmm.
thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's pretty good. My last piece of advice,
Mm-hmm.
to my third last, I guess my last piece of advice, is to say, um, study to show yourself approved.
Mm-hmm.
What that means to me is, don't stop learning. Keep on growing as a person. Keep on, you know, learning those skills that you would like to learn. Keep on learning, improving yourself, and your self development, so that you will be confident in yourself, confident in what you do. You will, you know the more you learn, the more you get to understand, and also, reach those heights, or reach those levels that you can only dream of, if you're not learning or if you're not studying to show yourself approved. So that's my last piece of advice for today.
Yeah, which is really good. It's like that's why it's called the school of life. You're constantly supposed to be, learning and improving yourself. And so, it's really important that we commit that to heart, to memory, and we action on it. So yeah, I'm glad you shared that one. And my last one actually is sometimes you get advice from I shouldn't say anyone can teach you anything. So you should be open to getting advice from anyone. One that I learned in 2021 was to always have a fifth ace, right? So I'm not a card player, I'm not a poker player, but for those who are familiar with any of the games I guess you typically have 4 aces, right? And so the fifth one is kind of like the one that you're hiding that will be your lifesaver, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how I've applied this to don't depend on one thing. So for instance, when it comes to employment, things can shift when you least likely expect it.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a plan B in terms of if your job ended right now, how are you going to pay your mortgage, your rent, your bills, right? So then your fifth ace would be like your emergency fund, or even someone you've stayed in touch with that is constantly hiring, or a side hustle, right? It also happens, like now we live in essentially emergency times, right? Whether it's a pandemic, whether it's the fires, for instance, that we experienced in BC, whether it's flooding. So ensure that, you have your insurance, and sometimes your fifth ace might be another place that you would go if your area became ground zero. Mm-hmm. All right. And also, when it comes to networking, for whatever reason, make sure that your network doesn't include people who look like you, think like you. Expand your network, right? So those become your fifth aces, where you have access to people who will be able to maybe support you or assist you in whatever situation. So in life, always have a plan B. And for instance, for those of us, who, are mothers, or you're married or whatever, I mean, we've talked about, having your own fund, like your money that you have access to, should your main pot of money as a couple, dissipate, or your husband dies or whatever, what's your fifth ace? So don't stand on one leg and don't depend on 4 aces, always have like a plan B, and that's your fifth ace. So yeah, so that's my last piece of advice for today. There's a lot more, but like Ropa and I, said, we would go on and on. And yeah, so we are going back to a challenge, which actually falls within advice. We both identified that there are areas within our life that we need to work on. And what we said, instead of one person pinpointing it, instead of, a person saying, okay, I want to work on this, knowing each other, we said, this is an area I think could use some work, and vice versa. So your area, Ropa, was stress eating, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So we gave each other, how much time did we give each other?
More. We took more time than we had given each other. Yeah. Actually, to get back here and discuss it. We had said December 31st was the day that, was kind of like the time that we were going to talk about it. We're about 16 days overdue. But anyway, we're back here to talk about it. What has been going on with you in terms of empty spaces?
Over to Europe, but you're not escaping, and then
no, I'm here, but at the same time, I'm asking you. So, what's going on with you with empty spaces?
With empty spaces, so I did show Ropa my spaces. I think, one area that's been struggle is my kitchen counter,
Mm-hmm.
where it's constantly cluttered.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not at 100% in terms of, having empty spaces. I would say I'm at 53%. And my rationale for that is, I think what I discovered, for instance, when I'm cooking, I take things out, but something happens and I don't put things back. So for instance, when I'm looking right now, like for instance, I had to get my car boosted, and so they needed my BCCA card. I made the call, the guy came, he boosted my car is up and running, but this is still here. So this is a piece of clutter I could have put away. And so I'm sorry to disappoint you. I didn't get it 100%, but I also reflected. And I think what happened is I realized that I don't put things away immediately. So that's one thing. And I think I'm just someone who likes things. So I can work on what I have control over or easy to get over, which is putting away things once I use them. And I'll let you know offline in a month how that's going. So that's been my feedback on that. And then what about you?
Okay, so for me, I'm gonna say I've done pretty well in that I don't well, actually, you know what, towards the end of December, I ate a lot of, like, candy and chocolates and stuff like that,
Okay, we all
because
did it.
I know we all did, but I don't know, I just needed them. I'm like, I
Like
need chocolate.
I need my stuff.
I'm like, I need chocolate. Okay, just give me the chocolate. I had a fridge magnet. I don't know where I put it. I think in the moving, when I bought my house years ago, I lost it somehow, and it said just hand over the chocolate and no one will get hurt.
Don't get hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
So, but I'm not really much of a chocolate person. I'm not really much of a whatever. But um, I have been eating healthy in like, let's say, swapping my unhealthy snacks for fruits and vegetables, because I love veggies. I can crunch down on celery and really enjoy it as if I'm eating uh you know chocolate cake type of thing, because I really really love veggies and stuff. So I thought about, okay, let me swap those things and I would just have that. So I realized my stress eating is not really eating because I love chocolate and I love candy or whatever. It's just when you're kind of stressed out, you'll be like, okay, I gotta put something in my mouth to, like, it's almost like a soothing type of thing, right? So it doesn't matter if I put a carrot in my mouth and crunch it, or if I put candy in my mouth. So my thing was to switch it up with, fruits and veggies, which I've done. Though I have kind of fallen off a little bit here and there because of what I had available, I guess.
So
Yeah.
it's still work in progress.
It's still work in progress. I'm not perfect yet with it, but at the same time, you know, I'll let you know in a month what that looks like.
Yeah. So I don't know if you had a closing comment or something you wanted to talk about before we close off.
No, I just wanted to say keep on with the personal developments. Both of us are working on our personal stuff, personal growth, personal development. And I mean, it's not an easy thing, especially when you get to those hard topics, or those, it's hard realizing certain things about yourself, and realizing that there's certain things that you are doing wrong that you could do better or you could do differently in a way that will give you better results. So that to me has been challenging on some habits that you know you grow up with and you realize, okay, this is not serving me anymore and this can be done in a different way. I can, say things in a different way, or I can do things in a different way, type of thing. So it's constant learning, constant improving, and just be open to that change. Yes, we grew up with certain, beliefs and certain values. And then when you grow up, sometimes you realize that certain things can be done better and certain things can be looked at and approached in a different way. Be open to that so that you can make your life a little bit better, as opposed to just choosing to not face your demons.
That's good. That's good. I think for me to close off is, always be open to learning from people, because our advice has come from multiple sources. So always be open to learning from different people. I mean, I'm very paraphrasing it, but there's a book called Proverbs, and it says, even a fool has a story to tell, right? So can I say that a third time? Always be open to learning from different people. And, thank you for joining us. And thank you for those who are supporting our channel. It's definitely growing. So invite other sisters. Comment below if you have pieces of advice that you'd like to share with us and the other sisters as well. And we wish you a really good week, and we'll see you next week.
Oh,
All right.
and also give us, if you have any advice that you received, just give us a piece of advice, write it in the comments below. We would love to hear from you as well.
All right.
So bye, ladies.